in with a chance to see if they can win the title. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is the lovely Mr. James Head. James, 3 drivers left in this championship running. It's safe to say one of them's got a big advantage, but anything can happen.
Anything can happen. It's Abu Dhabi. Anything can happen. And obviously, 3 championship contenders, Recon on 131, Navy on 109 and Cosby on 107. You may still think it's an open championship, but by the end of tonight, we will see who is going to get the crown.
Absolutely, and hopefully you are ready for this one. As 3 drivers walk into this championship contenders, only one of them can walk away with the title itself. I cannot wait for this one. I always love a season finale, so let's see if they can deliver here tonight. But well, let's have a look in full at the drivers table at this moment in time. So it is Recon at the top of the table, as James has said, on 131, Navy in second on 109, with Carlsbury in third on 107. Then it's Warren in fourth on 80 points, Calsper in fifth on 75, Spike in 6th on 67, Toxic in 7th on 44, Mashiro in 8th on 40, tied with him is Shapalele there also on 40 points. In 10th place is Straw on 39 points, King J in 11th on 37 points, Lighty in 12th on 34, Cass in 13th on 30, Sean in 14th on 29, Key in 15th on 17, Rafa in 16th on 13, Chaos is in 17th on 8 points, Maze is in 18th on 6 points, Jeffrey 19th on 4 points, and Cooper yet to score a point this season, although he did join right the way through the season. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, well, it's a much closer running, a much closer stead at that championship. Ferrari took the championship lead at the last race, 167 points they're on compared to Racing Point's 164. So close between the two teams. Alfa Romeo also in with an outside shot of the title here tonight. They're in third place on 136. Then it's McLaren in fourth on 109, Renault in 5th on 107, Red Bull in 6th on 88, Toro Rosso in 7th on 77, Haas in 8th on 71, Mercedes in 9th on 59, and Williams in 10th place on 52 points. And just like that, James, we're counting down to qualifying of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Are we already at qualifying? Goodness me. It has already flown over, but it is going to be a real test, isn't it, this track? 21 turns out on track, two big long straight with 2 DRS zones and a very technical middle sector, which will catch people out through the left and the right chicanes. And hopefully we're not going to see any spinners here tonight. And I do believe we've got about 15 drivers here tonight in attendance. I do believe Calsper might be joining as well.
Well, let's hope so. The more drivers, the better. That is for sure. And, well, we've got Conti in the chat there saying Recon for the championship. So let us know also who you're backing for the championship. I mean, Recon has a big lead, but it's not uncatchable, James.
It isn't uncatchable, and I think we were going through the scenarios beforehand. Ideally, in a realistic scenario, I think Navy and Cosby will be wanting Recon to drop as many points as possible here tonight, or to DNF. That is the principle, I think, where both of those guys can win the championship. Recon, however, has got a significant advantage. Of course, he's been very quick with the pole times, and I mean, he's set 3 out of the last 4 pole position times. Goodness me, nearly choking there. But obviously, I think Recon has got a significant advantage, as I was saying. And looking at him, he should, you would imagine, wrap up the championship tonight. But all said is done.
Absolutely, and if Recon doesn't finish, there's still a big thing for the other 2 drivers to actually not only make it to the checkered flag, but actually finish really, really well. They've got it all to do as they head towards the final round of this season. Let's see how it all unfolds. We are live here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As we see, that looks like a Red Bull leaving the garage there. I think that's Warren leaving the pit lane. Toxic won't be too far behind, and it is... oh no, it was Toxic out there, but there is a Toro Rosso who's beating him out. That's Spike, and then you've also got Cooper in the Williams, who is still not first out onto track. I really did miss who was first out there. Spike is as eager as anything, who is now making his way down towards that hairpin there at turn number, I believe that's turn No, I'm not going to guess.
8.
I knew it was 8. I was going to say 8, but oh well, what can you do? Just an update there. Navy, apparently, well, he's not here at the moment for qualifying. I don't know whether he's not racing at all, James, but that could be one fewer person to think about in the championship battle.
Yeah, it could be one less person to think about in the championship battle for sure. And I think Navy was saying earlier on that he might struggle to get into qualifying. I was having a look at the chat earlier. I'll just try and update this as we go along. Interesting though how Spike is out on a set of hard compound tyres. We've got a real mix of colours there on the left-hand side of the tyre graphic. That's what I like to see in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely, and we shall see with Spike as he makes his way around the final couple of quarters and on towards a flying lap. Let's see here if we can get rid of some of these lovely graphics on the screen here. Now we can see as we make our way on towards the start-finish straight now and onwards towards turn 1, the sharp left-hander here as you brake hard for the first corner of the track. It's very misleading. You can carry too much speed through there as we head now through turn 2, onwards now towards turn 3, and then the slight kink of turn 4 where cars can go flying across those set of curves down into the braking zone towards turn 5 and 6 here as you now have to slow the car down into turn 6. A little bit of wheel spin there from Spike through 6 and in towards turn 7. Get this corner right because you've got a long straight ahead of you. DRS zone about a quarter of a way down this straight, maybe even less than that, as we now make our way all the way towards turn 8. Plenty of time to think about this. The track almost shifts to the left about 3/4 of the way down. You've got to do some steering input there if you're not careful. Braking hard now in towards turn 8 and then onwards towards turn 9. A very off-camber curve there can put the car off, and especially in that part, you can lose control of the car very easily. Onwards through turn 10 and now towards turn 11 again. Another DRS zone down towards the braking zone at turn 11. A little bit of a chicane here. Not many overtaking opportunities on this track, so you've got to get the line absolutely right. Looked really good there from Spike as we head through turn 14 here. Very misleading corner there. Easy to overcommit through there as well as we head through 15, through 16, and it immediately launches you into the braking zone of turn 17. So easy to lock a wheel there, and that's what's happened to Spike. Lost that back end slightly. Now he's heading in towards turn 18 and then through turn 19 with the wall on the right hand side there. Use as much of that track as possible as we head towards turn 20 here. Keep the car in shape there as we head towards turn 21. It sort of tightens on the apex but then opens up on exit as Spike heads towards the line. It's a 1:37.6 from Spike, and he will know he can go quicker than that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good lap, actually, for a set of hard compound of tyres around here. Obviously, as they go through the session, the times will get quicker. Cooper just coming in as soon as I say that with a 36.5. So the gap between the hards and the mediums is about 1.2 seconds, I think, anywhere between that. Cooper on a set of mediums obviously will go on a set of softs. I think the gap between a medium and a set of softs around here is about 1.4 seconds dead on, because Carlsbury has just gone quickest for the 35.1, and Navy not racing tonight either.
Yeah, so this is Carlsbury's chance to really see if he can get some points on the championship leader of Recon here. Well, Recon at the moment, I'm wondering what's going through Recon's head. Obviously, he's got a massive lead over Carlsbury. With Navy not racing tonight, that's one less championship rival to worry about. 24 points separates them, James. He'll just be looking to try and get to the checkered flag with the most amount of points possible. Take no risks.
Yeah, Recon, I think, has got to take no risks at all here tonight. I think his mental game will be simple. Try and go out there, try and set the best lap as possible within qualifying, try and get a very good strategy going within the race, and then try and win the championship. I think that's what it's worth. Warren, by the way, second as King Jade just crashes in front of Recon, actually. That was through turn 19, which was after the grandstand section. So Recon coming around the final corner. Think he's going to go quickest with this, with a 34 maybe, it's a 34.3, and he's 8 tenths ahead of his championship rival.
Yeah, no risks there from Recon, but as he puts it on pole position by 8 tenths of a second on those soft tyres. Incredible lap time. Cooper as well has crashed at turn 19, so 2 people have now crashed at turn 19. I can only assume that's them getting off the curbs there on the inside of 19 and losing the back end entirely. That's all I can think.
Yeah, obviously if the car gets caught, I'm just watching on board with Toxic to see if he runs a similar line. It can throw you off wide, and again he just nearly follows off into the wall, so Toxic just got to be careful there, and he's completely buggered that lap up, and he's invalidated, and he's come around the final corner. But Toxic was on a lap. He got caught on the inside of the curb, flung him out wide. It's the nature of the track, it's the nature of the camber of the corner.
Yeah, Recon on provisional pole position at the moment. Carlsbury, his championship rival, in second place. Warren is in third there, with Trott in fourth, Mashiro in fifth, Cooper in sixth, Spike seventh. As I say that, Lydie now goes up to fourth place there. Spike in eighth, Key ninth, with Jeffrey in 10th, Cass in 11th, with King J out of the qualifying session altogether, having not set a lap time. We did have someone there who didn't set a lap time. I'm just trying to think who that was. Can't think of it right now, but Toxic and Shapalele now are the only drivers yet to set a lap time that are still running in this qualifying session.
Yeah, 37.7 by the way for Sean as well, just gone into 9th position, so he's actually in right middle for diddle in between the hard compound of tyres, and yes, I have just said middle for diddle out on track. Cass has gone third as well, so good luck from him. The two Ferraris obviously want to score as many points as possible, because remember, not only there's a drivers' battle going on out on track in terms of the championship, there's also a constructors' fight. And if I get the standings up, Ferrari on 167, Racing Point on 164, King J has left the session, which I'm not sure on, but if Ferrari outscore Racing Point, I think they'll take the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, I think
so far.
There's not many scenarios where it's sort of, oh, if Ferrari finish first and third and Racing Point finish second and fourth, it's all over. It's pretty much all Ferrari really have to do is make sure they're ahead of the Racing Points. And to be honest with you, I don't see any pink cars out there, James. I have to be honest.
There is no pink cars out there. Kalsper, a big absence. Of course, he was going to join the session. Not sure where Cooper and King J have gone off to. Both of them now have left the session. Just to pick up on something that I've just seen, Carlsbury has improved by 0.6 of a second nearly on his lap. He's gone still second, but with a 34.5, so he's only 0.2 off Recon.
Yeah, as well as that, you've also got in that championship battle for the constructors is Alfa Romeo. Now, they are outsiders. I mean, they're currently on 136 with Ferrari on 167. And, of course, the maximum amount of points that a constructor can score these days is 44 points, assuming that at least one of the cars has that fastest lap of the race bonus point. So it is a mountain to climb for Alfa Romeo. But, again, like we've just said in the Drivers' Championship, James, anything can happen.
Anything can really happen, and I think with it being Abu Dhabi, anything can happen. And honestly, the drivers out on track have got to be really on the ball here tonight. There's enough camber corner pretty much as you go around the track. Cooper, I'm glad to say, has joined back into the session. We're halfway through qualifying though. Recon and Carlsbury, the two top championship contenders, are first and second out on track, as Kalsper has joined as well, so that'll be a significant gain hopefully for the race. Are we going to see maybe a last to first from him?
Maybe. Well, he'll have to start from P16 on the grid now, so we'll have to wait and see how that all turns out. However, I believe he is in a Racing Point, isn't he? So Racing Point have a car in this running, and they have now a shot of making it, or at least trying to go for that Constructors' title. But of course, with only one car compared to Ferrari's two, which are currently first and third, and it's going to be a huge mountain to climb for them.
Going to be a big mountain to climb, and Recon Cass currently first and third, as you say, in constructors, or in qualifying, I should say. Warren is on a lap, by the way. I'm on board with him, and he's actually invalidated, so don't even bother going on board with him.
Well, he's still in mode 4, to be fair to him, making his way down that long back straight. Onwards now towards turn 8, as we saw Toro Rosso just pulling to one side on that back straight, trying to let the cars through there. I wonder if actually, who is there? So it is Spike, so he's just trying to get out of the way, trying to make a gap for him out on track. Interestingly, he comes back out on a set of hard tyres, so that's pretty interesting, I have to say. However, still 7 minutes and 44 seconds to go, and we have Recon on the top spot at the moment, 34.3, Carlsbury 34.5 in second place, Cass 35.1, Warren 35.2, Lighty 35.4, also with Trua 35.4, Mashiro 7th with a 35.9, Cooper, who was crashed out of qualifying, he said a 36.5 on a set of medium tyres, but interestingly, he'll have to start on a set of medium tyres if he finishes in the top 10, but they'll have to be a brand new set, of course, because the ones he's used right now have been binned. He won't be able to use them again.
I think that might be actually an advantage from on a fresh set of medium compound of tyres, because he's got Mashiro ahead of him, who's not, to be dishonest to Mashiro, I think Cooper is quicker than probably 3 or 4 of the guys ahead. So easily he could have gone quicker within qualifying, but that fresh set of mediums is going to be really key to Cooper's chances here tonight. And I can honestly see him, if he gets past the early guys, if it stands in qualifying, I don't think it will, but if it stays as it is in qualifying, I think Cooper's got an outside chance of a top 3.
We shall have to wait and see. Obviously, he'll have to be starting on a brand new set of tyres. I believe he'll have to start on the medium tyres. That is, of course, if he finishes in the top 10. We've still got quick drivers out there who could better that 36.5 on a set of soft tyres. And the track's always improving as well. That's the other thing. So we'll have to wait and see how that all unfolds. Lighty, meanwhile, making his way through turn 3, through the slight kink of turn 4, onwards now towards turns 5 and 6, making his way through there in the Haas, onwards now towards turn 7. That long hairpin that just seems like it goes on forever. Trying to find the apex, it's there somewhere, and then you've got the long straight, the longest on the track. So that hairpin becomes even more important. It becomes crucial at that point as you make the run down towards turns 8, 9 and 10. And you can see there, Lighty actually getting a little bit onto that blue tarmac there. This is what I was talking about on the hot lap we were with on board with Spike, is that the track sort of shifts to the left as you make your way down that long back straight there. So you have to keep your wits about you, especially when you're trying to attack or defend.
Yeah, there's a lot of undulations actually in this track. He's 900s up currently in the middle sector, just coming into this very technical final sector, which will really test the car and the driver to the limit. I think that was Mashiro going up to third with a 34.6. What a lap by Mashiro, the Japanese man going third. I think there was also an improvement with Key. He's gone 8th as well, 35.7. Lighty, though, coming under the grandstand second towards the end of his lap.
Yeah, interesting point there from Kalsper in the chat there is that he'll be put in a random car, but I believe he will be scoring points for Racing Point no matter what car he ends up being in. The other point as well is that he'll be on a default setup.
He will be, yeah, and that's going to be a significant disadvantage, I think. Of course, drivers are used to running their setups that they might take from time trial from other people, of course, but I think honestly, Kalsper, with the default setup, should be getting past some of the guys quite easily, no matter what. He's got talent, and I think that will come to the fore tonight for him. And Lighty, by the way, went 4th with a 34.8.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's drivers on a flying lap. I believe Toxic is on one as he makes his way through the final corner, onwards now towards that start-finish line. 33.9 from Toxic, puts himself onto provisional pole position with just over 4 minutes to go.
Halsbury coming around the final corner as well. He looks like he might be improving on this one. He doesn't. 1300s off, but the consistent lap is there for him. Chapelletti, by the way, 4th on a set of mediums. 34.6. He can improve massively on that.
Yeah, that's a great lap from Chapelletti. The yellow medium tyres really suit that Renault as it makes its way down towards 5 and 6. Oh, never mind. It's gone straight on. Ah, well, what could you do? Let's have a look and see.
That's probably to get round for another lap, actually, why he's done that.
It is. That will definitely be right. Whether they're allowed to do that or not is another question. Warren, meanwhile, teamwork going on here between Toxic and Warren as Warren uses that slipstream of Toxic down towards turn 8 there, which is so important because now he's down that longest straight. He's got the slipstream there, and the Renault here has to be careful because Warren is on a flying lap. You can see Chapelletti is not, as Warren makes his way now down towards 11, 12 and 13. Let's see how smooth it is through here. Looks really good. He's really got that car hooked up. A little bit wide on the exit of 13. Entrance into 14 will be a bit compromised, but that slipstream he had down the back straight there with his teammate will really help him, especially on these medium tyres. He's got to get that car slowed down, which he does. A little bit of trail braking. Back end steps up him a little bit as he heads in towards turn 18. Now he heads in towards 19. And again, just a little bit of understeer there. It's not quite working as we head through turn 20. He backs out of the lap completely there, Warren. And, well, that slipstream he worked so hard for has all gone to pot now.
Yeah, a little bit of a race coming into the pits there as well. Cosby and Chapelletti. Chapelletti, I think, if Warren did see Chapelletti behind him, he was probably thinking, well, you've just got the corner, mate. I'm not going to get in for another lap. I don't think Chapelletti, in fact, will have time for another lap.
Well, Sean has just started a flying lap now with over 2 minutes left of this qualifying session as he makes his way through turn 2 onwards towards turn 3. We've got a Ferrari out there as well, Cass making sure he is right over to the left hand side. Sean's still on a flying lap, currently P14 with a 37.6, but that was set on the hard tyres quite some time ago. He now makes his way in towards turn 7 and onwards now towards that long back straight towards turn 8. The only race, James, where we go from twilight, from dusk to night.
Fantastic, I think, for the camera angles as well and for the viewers here tuning into the stream. Just to pick up as well, Toxic has retired from the session, clearly not feeling he's got another lap in. Recon, knowing him, he could leave it late in qualifying, and I think Recon could snatch Toxic. I think he's made the wrong decision there.
Well, the decision has been made. He's got to stick by it now. 33.9 is the time to beat. Carlsbury is coming out of the pit lane as we speak there with the Red Bull of Warren making his way through. And I believe that's also Shapalele right behind as well. So all three of these cars have to find their respective gap on the track to make sure they can get that qualifying time in. And as you can see, they go straight on there. I wonder if the stewards will be having a look at that one, especially going into next season. I do remember there were rules brought in about that. I wonder if they're going to be enforced in the last race of the season, perhaps maybe even next season, but we'll leave that to the stewards. Mashira then starts a flying lap now. He's making his way through turn 1. Sean, meanwhile, is getting towards the end of his lap and goes P10, 35.7 on a set of those medium tyres. There's a Mercedes coming towards the line. It's Jeffrey who now starts a flying lap on a set of the soft tyres. So too does Cass there in the Ferrari. 7th place for him right now. The Toro Rosso of Key, I believe, has just crossed the line to start a new flying lap. Spike is out there just ahead of the Ferrari here of Recon. And Recon here will be looking to try... Oh, Lighty's retired from the session. That is at the final corner. Wow, that's a big mistake there from the German. In any case, Spike then will start a new flying lap. So too will Recon, who's really extending that gap between himself and Spike. He really slowed that car down. He wants this track all to himself. Let's have a look at the track map because that will give us the perfect opportunity to see who's on a flying lap and who is not. Carlsbury's coming around the final corner and actually comes towards the start-finish line. Is he still in control of that car?
No.
No, he's not. So he didn't make it. He didn't make it to that line.
Neither is Shapalele and Warren. They left it way too late. I saw them pretty much cutting the whole of the track. Didn't make sense. Keep an eye on the timings.
Well, they've missed out on their chance, which means then Recon Mashiro have a chance to try and grab pole position here. Speaking of Mashiro, he's making his way around the final 2 corners through turn 20 and in towards turn 21. That car looks so hooked up through those corners. Now heading towards the start-finish line. No, he did make an improvement, 34.2 it would have been. It would have been front row of the grid, but he invalidated his lap time. The Japanese driver will have to stay for 6th place for now. Recon on a flying lap. We've also got Jeffrey making his way towards the line. Can he get into that top 10 in the Mercedes? He gets 10th place for now. What about Cass? He gets 4th place in the Ferrari there. We've got a Toro Rosso of Key who goes up to P9 with a 135.2. We've got Spike there, 14th place right now. Going on the medium tyres as he makes his way in towards turn 20. Now onwards towards turn 21. He's got to keep this lap all together and then in towards the final corner. Onwards now towards that start-finish line. Up to P9 he will go, 34.8 from the Toro Rosso. Here comes Recon who does grab it. He grabs pole position there. I wasn't quick enough to get on that camera, but Recon grabs yet another pole position and puts himself in pole position to take this title home. Let's see then how those... qualifying standings showed then a 1/10 of a second. That was all that was in it for Recon there, a 33.8 with Toxic in 2nd place. Straw getting up to 3rd place in the final couple of seconds there with Cass in 4th, Carlsbury in 5th, Shapalele 6th, Mashiro in 7th with Lighty 8th, Spike in 9th and Key rounds out the top 10. It's Warren in 11th, Jeffrey 12th, Sean in 13th, Cooper 14th, King J, who retired, didn't get a lap time under his belt, P15, and we also have Calspur, didn't take part in qualifying, but will start from P16 on the grid. Well, James, the first part of this task for Recon has been done with Carlsbury down in 5th place. All Recon really has to do now is get it to that checkered flag.
Yeah, Recon with a very good lap. He really found a lot of time in that final sector, and I couldn't tell you how good that lap was because it was a 9 out of 10 if I've got to give a rating on that lap. Again, he likes to leave it late, doesn't he?
He does like to leave it late, absolutely, and he's done it again. As late as possible. The track is, in theory, in the most pristine condition it can be. It's the most rubbered in that it can be. Kalsper has been put into the Mercedes, but just a bit of admin here. He will be scoring points for Racing Point. He will be classified as a Racing Point driver at the end of this race. But James, I would ask you for your race winner or championship winner by the end of tonight, but I know how you are with cursing drivers, so I feel like we should avoid that question.
Honestly, I think it could be a bit of an open book tonight. I think there's multiple drivers that could win this. I think for a bit of an outside shot, I think Toxic might take it, but Recon will score ahead of Carlsbury. So Recon will win the championship.
Well, that's the decision made, that's a prediction made, so get ready for that not to happen. Here we go then, Recon making his way down towards turn 1 and onwards towards turn 2. 28 laps await us for the season finale here at Abu Dhabi. The important thing is that Carlsbury is down in 5th place there. But as well as that, the Ferraris are in prime position to wrap up the Constructors' Championship. Oh, how they would love to get a Drivers' and a Constructors' Championship in this day and age. They might just be able to do it here tonight.
Yeah, Recon obviously currently in the championship league. Cass's performance last week, remember, in America, with that lights glitch that we had at the start of the race, Cass did absolutely phenomenally well. I think he came, if I'm not mistaken, he came 3rd or 4th last week in America, and Cass drove to an absolute T. Once again, he's got the chance to prove himself. He's got Troy ahead of him, who's on a set of softs. He's got Chapelelli behind him, which I think will be quite interesting to see on a set of mediums. Cass could perform well, and I think Ferrari have got the constructors wrapped up, because Carlsberg, all the way down there in 16th, it's going to have to be a miracle from him if he wants to win this.
Well, miracles do happen. They can happen. They have happened. Will it happen here tonight? As we now make our way through these long set of right-handers here. Just very quickly, James, this run towards turn 17 on lap 1 where the brakes are cold, the tyres are going to be colder than normal. Just how easy is it to lock up through there?
Really easy. I think 9 out of 10 times you are bound to lock up through there. And honestly, it is an off-camber corner as well. Triple right-hander through 15, through 16, and then down the hill, down slight undulation, down to 17. Got to get hard onto the brakes. And if you mess up your line even by a millimetre, you will end up probably going onto the curb and maybe even spinning into the on-court barrier. And hopefully, you don't see that.
Well, let's see how this race is going to unfold. This is the season finale here in TTL F1 for this season, and we are moments away from the 11th round of the season here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here at Yas Marina, and Recon is on pole position and in prime position to take the championship win, but Carlsbury down in 5th place is the only man who can stop him here tonight as we await those red lights to extinguish and start this race. It is 5 red lights. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It's a good start from Recon. It's a good start from Toxic as well. He takes the race lead as we head down towards turn 1. Recon trying to go around the outside. The 2 Ferraris touch, and Cassis taps the wall on the inside there. That is not what Ferrari wanted at all at the beginning of this race. Oh, there's a Ferrari and a Toro Rosso coming together there, just coming through that final corner, or the first couple of corners there, as we make our way down towards turns 5, 6 and 7. A horror start for Cass here as he taps his teammate and sends him towards the back of the grid. P14 he will have to recover in. Kalsper, meanwhile, a really good start from him. Obviously he didn't take part in qualifying, in a Racing Point effectively, as he makes his way now down this long straight, and that's a great camera angle as we see Toxic making his way down towards that heavy braking zone of turn 8. You see the Williams on the inside there of Mashiro trying to make a move on Chapelele, but you've got the Haas there of Lighty trying to make a move. Flying Cooper sees that coming and moves to the right hand side to try and take full advantage of the more traction he will have out of that corner. He's going to be on the outside though as we head towards turn 11. You can see there just on the outside of Kalsper, he gets the move done does Calsper, or at least defending that position for now. But Flying Cooper, no way through for him that time around. Toxic, though, in the lead of this race at this moment in time. Recon in second. I don't think I'd be too concerned about that. Cass then launching it up the inside of Warren there in a very unorthodox fashion. But he has got the move done. Up into P13 he goes. And there's a little bit of a queue forming here as the drivers try and take in this first lap. Toxic then, with a really good start in towards turn 1, leads the race here at Abu Dhabi with Recon in second place. Draw in third, Carlsbury fourth, Chapelele fifth, then it's Mashiro, Lighty, Calsper, Cooper, Spike, Jeffrey, Sean, Cass, Warren Key and King J. They all made it through eventually.
They all made it through, and Toxic got a terrific start from the get-go, and Recon is now under sustained pressure. Carlsbury gaining a position as well. He's up to fourth, but a horror show for Cass, and another horror show, I think, for Key as well. He got caught up in that early-on collision with Cass. Literally a little bit of contact there, and I think with Recon and Cass's contact, Recon just misjudged it slightly. He thought he had the full car ahead. He didn't, and the rear left wheel of the Ferrari caught his teammate.
Well, we've got two battles happening here. Chapelele's right behind Carlsbury there, but Calsper looking for a move on Lighty. You can see two different battles happening there. You can see Chapelele going into turn 9, taking a different line to Carlsbury here. And of course, remember, Chapelele's on the medium tyres right now. He looks to the right-hand side on entry in towards turn 11, using that curve around the outside here into 11, inside of 12, outside of 13. No way through. It is so difficult to get the move done through there. Tries to go up the inside at turn 14, and it goes wrong for him. That door was always closing there, and where he went side by side through 11, 12 and 13, he probably thought that door was still open. He's now been disqualified for going the wrong way, and meanwhile Lighty and Calsper battling away alongside Jeffrey. Calsper's now up to 6th place with Lighty in 7th. Chapelele, of course, now pulling off as he has been disqualified for driving the wrong way, and that can so easily happen if you're trying to spin the car around. Spike then gets a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, we've got Lighty into the pit, so he must have picked up damage at some point in that battle. Makes a very early stop. Recon then sets the fastest lap of the race at 39.7 for him so far as he looks to try and retake that race lead.
Yeah, Recon is right on the back of Toxic. Lighty, I think, had left side end plate damage coming into the pits. I think he might have picked that up on the last lap. Toxic, 3-second time penalty, and Recon is all over the back of him. Literally 0.2 of a second, if that, separating the top two out on track. Troll trying to get involved in third. Carlsbury fourth, Machiro fifth. Good start by Carlsper, though, and Recon is going to absolutely sail on by Toxic. Quite easy.
Absolutely, yeah, but Toxic, will he have a go down the inside? No, because he knows after this one there's also another detection zone, another detection point, I should say, in towards the next DRS zone. Jeffrey and Cooper battling away then in towards turns 8 and 9, but Jeffrey catches that curve. This is a perfect opportunity for Spike then to go round the outside. Can he try and make this move stick? Meanwhile, Calsper in that racing point then moves ahead of Mashiro. No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. That will be a racing point classified as at the end of this race. Jeffrey, meanwhile, side by side with Spike. And Spike was always going to have that move. He was always going to have the chicane there. 11, 12 and 13, James, is such a difficult place to make a pass. It's almost impossible.
It is almost impossible, but Spike made that look very, very easy indeed, and I think Jeffrey might have just gave him that one, to be honest. And he's up into 8th position, but the top three now just beginning to spread themselves out. It looks like Recon, looks like almost he's got a second wind. He's now beginning to pull away from Toxic. Maybe those softs on Toxic's car beginning to overheat, because Troll's right on the back of him, and Carlsbury into the pits.
Well, that's Calsper into the pit. Oh no, Carlsbury, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I misread that. But Carlsbury into the pits then now. Is this a change of front wing or is this a change of strategy? It looks like the medium tyres are ready. No change of wing. This is, yeah, as you say, James, that's probably going to be a 2-stop here. So let's see how that goes. I mean, to be honest with you, Carlsbury has to try something different. He's not probably going to catch Recon on raw pace alone. He has to be strategic about this one.
I think he's actually made the right call there, because Troll and Toxic are now beginning to slightly battle. It's 0.5 of a second separating the two guys out on track. He had free track ahead of him. He could have easily stayed out there for a couple more laps, but he's predicted that the softs are going to go off a little bit quicker than some of the guys ahead. so that's why he has came in. Sean is trying to go around the outside of Jeffrey, though, down into the braking zone at turn 8 and 9. The Alfa Romeo trying to go around the outside. He's on the inside line for the corner, but Jeffrey always going to have that one. It's still side by side as we come onto the Formula 2 pit straight. Jeffrey and Sean fight it out, and I think Sean, with the speed, is going to have this one quite easily. And Cooper down the inside of Spike as well. 2x2 Noah's Ark, and Cooper makes it look very easy on Spike. Gets the move done, he's up to 6th. Very good moves here out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Spike there in the end knew that corner wasn't going to be his and had to really concede that position to Cooper. Perfect battling between the two of them, but Spike knew when he was beaten, had to give it up and fight for another day. Meanwhile, Toxic has pulled in that gap to Recon at the head of the field as Toxic now comes into the pit, so he's also going for an undercut then. Troll stays out. I wonder what Calspur will be doing. He stays out as well. Mashiro also stays out. Cooper stays out. So a lot of these drivers are staying out. Toxic then comes into the pits.
Yeah, Spike and Cooper just getting caught on the outside curb there for 5th and 6th currently out on track. And interestingly, I don't think we picked up on this, but Calspur is on a fresher set of the soft compound tyres. Of course, the guys in the top 10 would have had to qualify, like Toxic into the pits. Oh, and actually Calspur, a bit of a lag moment there, but Calspur is onto the back of Troll by 1.4 seconds off. But remember, he's on a fresher set of softs, so he's beginning to come and close that gap in. He's got the car to do it. He's got the talent to do it. Expect him maybe to win this one.
We shall see, we shall see. Meanwhile, Spike is closing in on Cooper as we make our way now down towards turn 8 with that DRS wide open. Will he go for a move? You bet he will. Down the inside in towards turn 8. Cooper sees him coming and lets him have that position. But now Cooper has the DRS and Spike loses that back end. Coming out of turn 9 there, that's very uncharacteristic, but that shows you how difficult that corner is to put the power down, especially on worn tyres as well, as Spike worked hard to get that position and then just handed that DRS zone to Cooper and allowed him to get away.
Yeah, and that has actually messed with him a little bit. I think his rhythm has now just gone out slightly. Spike is now behind Cooper, as you say. Toxic, by the way, has got past Warren. Those teammates, I think, are working together. So Toxic now up to 10th. And Carlsbury is up to 11th. Damn it, down the inside. That was through turn 13, I think. And he gets the move done on Warren. Quite easy as well.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at Calspur, who's closing in on Troll as we make our way through the final corner. Onwards now towards the start, finish straight, heading our way towards turn 1. Recon still leads this one on lap number 6. Troll in 2nd, with Calspur in 3rd place. Mashiro 4th, with Cooper 5th. Spike still on the back of Cooper then as they make their way through turn 1 onwards towards turn 2. Sean there in 7th place with Jeffrey in 8th. Toxic in 9th place as Carlsbury is up now to 10th place. I thought for a second there I saw Pitt next to him and I thought, well, that's it. That's probably the championship over. But no, he's still out there, 10th place on a set of those medium tyres. Lighty's now up to 11th place, but he did struggle because he had to come in and change that front wing very early on in this race. Key's just making his way out of the pit lane. Very embarrassing if you've been in that pit lane. First driver that did it was in F2, funnily enough. So you don't want to be that driver for sure. Calspur, meanwhile, right behind Troy now on the exit of turn number 9. Around the outside now for turn 10. Meanwhile, Spike has got the position on Cooper down the back straight towards turn 8. Calspur gets the move done in towards turn 11 there. Gets that move done. Spike, meanwhile, gets ahead of Cooper. Will Cooper try a move down towards turn 11? Just a little bit too far back for his liking, and he has to stay behind for now. But Spike now up to 5th place, and Troy up to 3rd. Down to 3rd, I should say.
Mashiro coming back actually to Spike and Cooper. They're beginning to reel these guys in. Mashiro, sorry, is coming back, as I say, to Spike and Cooper. These guys at 5th and 6th are beginning to reel Mashiro in. Just running wide there with the curb there, Spike. But Calspur now in clear air. I would expect him, to be honest, to respond to Recon when he decides to come into the pit. I think they may pit same lap, and that will preserve Calspur maybe onto a one-stop strategy. Troll, in the meantime, could go two-stop because he's into the pit. I can't see 20 laps on mediums working around here. It's been done before, though.
I've seen it happen before. I have seen it happen before. Medium tyres can last that way if they're treated right. Toxic there sets the fastest lap of this race, then moves now up the positions and up the ladder and well ahead of Troy now as he makes his way through 3 and onwards towards turn 4 there. What have you spotted, James?
Carl's been making a massive mistake coming through turn 1, running very wide indeed. And I think that car, he's beginning to really struggle, and the fin is under the cosh here tonight. And I think the championship, he's got his one hand on that championship. I think it's beginning to slip off that championship possibly. And now Recon will be grabbing the championship maybe with two hands by the end of tonight. But we are now transferring into the dark.
I mean, let's face it, for Carlsberg here, I should say, it was always going to be a very outside chance. I think he came here tonight thinking this championship's probably not going to be mine. If it is, that's a huge and pleasant surprise. But Recon leading the way right now. I mean, this championship at this moment in time is only heading one way, and it's heading Recon's way.
Carlsberg really beginning to pull into the gap though. Was 2.7 seconds at the start of this lap. 6/10 gain. Remember, he's on a stock setup as well. Fresher set of soft compound tyres, and I think without that stock setup, those set of softs are beginning to come into play. And Carlsberg could at least maybe go another 2 laps. Recon though is coming into the pit. Is he going to react? Yes, he does. So exactly what I predicted. Carlsberg into the pit, follows Recon in. That's the best decision to make. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, and I think that was Warren, turn 9.
It was. Meanwhile, Toxic here is all over the back of Jeffrey as we make our way in towards the final corner. Jeffrey not getting the traction down out of the final corner, and Toxic just gets the better traction on better tyres, on fresher tyres in towards turn 1, and he's taken the lead here of this race by quite some margin. In fact, Recon here making his way out of the pit lane. Carlsbury's rejoined ahead of him, with Recon there, could be rejoining behind Traw here. Is that the case? No, they've rejoined ahead of him. But one thing's for sure is that Carlsbury is ahead of Recon at this moment in time. Of course, for Carlsbury to have any chance, as Warren's now retired from the race after another spin there, I believe that's just after turn 18. For Carlsbury, pretty much the only thing he can do is win this race. No other position can help him get close to that championship. He has to win this race. But being ahead of Recon might help him, might just give him that edge and see if he can push on to try and get this. He's got Jeffrey ahead of him.
It's going to fill him up with a lot of confidence, and I can honestly see this move getting done even before the corner. Carlsbury right on the back of Jeffrey. The power of that Alfa Romeo quite stunning down the straight. Jeffrey not going to put up a fight, I don't think, and Carlsbury gets the move done. He's up into 4th. Now he can focus his attentions on Toxic, who is 2.4 seconds up the road. As soon as I say that, the gap has just extended slightly, and that is for the net lead of the race as well, because Spike and Sean are yet to come into the pit. But when do you expect, actually, the medium runners to come into the pit? Will you say about about halfway stage?
I'll be honest with you, I can see the medium tyres lasting a lot longer than people realise. I see the pit window not opening until about lap 17, maybe even later than that. So that, I believe that's how fast and how hard these medium tyres can run. Obviously, the drivers here lament about the hard tyres all the time. That's why you haven't seen anybody use them. They don't go anywhere near them in a race scenario. Even if, you know, there was a crash on lap 1 and they had to go out on a fresh set of tyres. Well, you saw Light head back out on a set of medium tyres. They really do prefer these medium tyres. The problem with the hard tyres is that they just don't actually work in the circuit. They never switch on at any point, at any temperature, at anywhere. They just don't switch on whatsoever. Recon, meanwhile, right up the inside of Jeffrey. Jeffrey! He spun him! Has he spun him there? Was there contact between the two of them?
I think Jeffrey just applied a little bit too much throttle. I didn't see any noticeable contact there. I think Jeffrey's just throttled on the power a bit too much, and Recon was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. From my angle, and from everybody else's angle on the stream, that looked like there was contact there, but we'll take your word for it, James, and give Recon the benefit of the doubt there as he looks to try and close in on Carlsberg, 0.6 of a second. Meanwhile, up ahead, Toxic is on a charge, 3.1 behind Spike, who's yet to stop in this race. He's absolutely flying out there, Toxic, but he's got to be careful of those tyres. Yes, you can take them a long way into this race, but can you take them as far as he wants to take them?
He wants to take them currently 24 laps, where I think no guy in Abu Dhabi has gone before, really, on a set of medium compounded tyres, and Toxic, I think, will struggle towards the end of the race. But the more gap that he actually extends out to Carlsbury, because Carlsbury currently in 4th, is still, the guys ahead, Spike and Sean, still yet to pit. Toxic has got to put in the laps now. Carlsberg, though, responding 37.9, and he's gone, I think, 2 tenths quicker than Toxic on that lap.
Yeah, I mean, what a drive he's having so far for Carlsberg.
5 tenths quicker, even.
Yeah, what a drive from him so far. I mean, missed qualifying, doesn't have a right setup on, not even in the correct car either, but he's still putting in the consistent lap times, but won't be won't be surprised or shocked to see if he finishes on the podium. But the problem is Toxic is flying out there. I really think he could be in with a shot of winning this race. The only thing that stands between him and that race win will be the tyre wear. Jeffrey is now out and he's crashed at turn 4. Meanwhile then Recon side by side with the racing point of Kalsper in towards turn 8, now towards turn 9. Oh, they made contact there, going through turn 9, wheel banging there as we head through turn 10, and Kalsper there drops a position. Recon now up a position to P5. And of course, remember that Kalsper will be classified as a racing point by the end of this race. Carlsbury, meanwhile, moves up to 3rd place, and that looked like Sean there did the role of the teammate and just simply waved him through. So Carlsbury is now up to 3rd place. Only 2 more places, and I tell you what, Toxic's right on the back of Spike here. If these two start battling, that's going to help Carlsbury close the gap.
It is 4.3 seconds. Gap is still extending out. Toxic and Spike are beginning to battle, as you say, but Spike is into the bits. So that has just gone completely out the window, and now Toxic's got a free track to now put the hammer down and extend that gap a little bit further. Sean is also into the bits as well. So the medium's actually not even lasting towards halfway. That's surely not going to go on a set of halves. No way.
No, I don't.
Kalsper! Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, he's just shouting his name for some reason. I thought that was going somewhere. Anyway, Spike now rejoins, so he is going for a 2-stop look because he's rejoining on a set of the medium tyres. So expect to see soft tyres for his last stint then. He has to stop again because he's only used 1 compound of tyre, and he rejoins, slots in right behind Light E as we make our way down towards turn 5.
That's exactly where Spike wanted to join, I think, because Lighty is in front of him currently out on track. Spike is giving this all out on track, and you would imagine that Spike is actually going to get the move done here. But at this moment in time, I don't think he's going to be... Is he going to be close enough for the move? Cass is right on the back as well.
Absolutely. Cass, who didn't have the greatest start, as we saw, down the back straight, looking to try and get a move. Kalsper, meanwhile, looking for a move. No move there from him as they go side by side. Cass and Spike going through turn 9, but no way through for Cass as we make our way now down that back straight. You can see Lighty, a little bit of lag from him. He is defending to the inside, head towards turn 11. No way through as Spike there picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Cass trying to go for a move from a long, long way back and taps the rear of Spike there. Spike picking up a 3-second time penalty for taking the Roman Grosjean line going through turn 11. But yeah, that contact there between Cass and Spike could have ended a lot worse for both drivers.
It could have really ended up a lot worse, but I tell you what, this battle for second is getting going. Carlsbury, Recon and Kalsper, 7/10 of a second separating these guys. 2 championship contenders, plus I think a champion-elect next season in Kalsper. This is going to be interesting.
Well, Recon is right on the back of Carlsbury as we make our way now down towards turns 5 and 6. You can see just in the mirrors there, that Mercedes lurking, looking for a move and an opportunity to get past Recon. Recon taking a wider entrance into the corner to try and prioritise his exit there, which looks like it's going to work a treat, running on board with Kalsper as Recon looks on. He's got DRS against Carlsbury, who does not move to the right-hand side, does the Ferrari, heading now down towards turn 8. You can see there the Mercedes, or the Racing Point, I should say, up the inside and takes that position away from Carlsbury. He gets the move done. Really opportunistic driving there, and in the space of a couple of seconds, Carlsbury finds himself from 2nd place to 4th.
Yeah, Carlsbury unlucky, and I think that's the medium compound of tyres that he's got on beginning to go, and Recon and Carlsper have just absolutely sailed past him out on track. And honestly, I think Carlsper, even with a stock setup, and he's came right from the back of the field, remember, I did say he might do a last to first. Well, you never know. Spike and Lighty going side by side. Spike getting the move around the outside. I think that was into turn 11. Getting the move done.
Yeah, Spike now up to 8th place as he looks to try and make this 2-stop work as much as possible. Of course, with a 2-stop, you've got to make the overtaking opportunities when you can. And at a track that doesn't offer many overtaking opportunities, it is a brave, brave stint to go on. Meanwhile, then Kalsper dropping slightly back from Recon on that lap as we head towards turn 1. Meanwhile, Carlsbury on, of course, a set of used medium tyres here. 9-lap-old mediums so far. I'll be wondering and eager to see how he gets on during this race. Of course, he did stop earlier, much earlier than the other drivers around him to put on the set of medium tyres. We'll have to see how that works out for him towards the end. My bold claim of these medium tyres lasting at least 20 laps might be going out the window very soon because the tyre deg out there looks pretty bad.
Yeah, tyre degradation is going off the cliff. Lighty on a 10-lap-old set of medium compound tyres. It'll be interesting to see, of course, how these guys on a much worn set of the medium compound tyres actually cope with the track conditions changing as we go into the night here in Abu Dhabi. We're nearly halfway through, and if you're just tuning in, well, where have you been? Because Toxic leads, Recon second, Kalsper third, and I'm right in saying, I think, now Recon and Kalsper have already gained a second on Toxic this lap.
Well, that is quite something here, and it shows Toxic there is on those worn set of tyres. Meanwhile, Cass is up to 9th place as he makes the move on Lighty. And meanwhile, Recon and Kalsper here, almost as if they're working together now to try and catch Toxic 3.7 up the road. But Toxic's pace today has really been electric, especially on those medium tyres. But for as long as there's a little bit of canvas on those tyres, there's a lot of time to be gained. But as you say, they're running wide at turn 20 and spinning up the rear tyres will not help the tyre wear whatsoever. Lap 14, just under half race distance so far, in Toxic lead from Recon in second, Kalsper in third, with Carlsbury fourth, Draw is in fifth, Mashiro sixth, Flying Cooper 7th with Spike in 8th, Cass in 9th and Lighty rounds out the top 10. It's Sean 11th and Key in 12th. Jeffrey, Warren and Shapalele all retired from this race. And I don't know the status of King J. I never saw him leave on the formation. That there could be desync involved there.
He left the session in qualifying, I do believe.
Ah, that'll be why then. So that's why he's not out on track. So that's a DNS for King J, whereas Jeffrey, Warren and Shapalele all DNFs. 12 runners left in this race here on the 14th lap of the season finale, with Mashiro closing in on Traw and Kalsper closing in on Recon.
Going to get interesting, I think, these two battles out on track. I think Kalsper and Recon might be the one to be on board with, because Kalsper having a much better run out there than Recon. Now down the F2 pit straight, and I think Kalsper, he's not going to go around the outside here, is he? He's going to actually switch it to the inside. Recon will take the outside line. He'll have the better line for the corner, and Kalsper just backs out of that one, switching back, trying to get the move done. He doesn't. However, Mashiro and Traw are going side by side through here as well. Traw, Mashiro still side by side out of turn 12. Goodness me, Troll just fights him off track. That was more to do, I think, with the camber of the corner. I don't know where to turn, because Kalsper's right on the back of Recon and Mashiro's right on the back of Troll, going through the triple right-hander. Surely not. But no, Troll hangs on for 5th. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you saw there Mashiro fought for as long and as hard as he could, but he realised through the triple right-hander there was just no way through. Backs out of it, but gets to fight, gets to battle Troll for at least the next couple of laps. He looks like he's got the faster car there, and it looks like riding on board with Mashiro, that car just looks so planted. It looks so good to drive. Okay, it might not be the quickest to drive, but look how smooth he is on those controls. Look how nice that car looks to drive. It's amazing.
You've got to imagine as well, Mashiro came into this season, I think, a couple of races in, and actually has really excelled out on track, and he's grown week upon week. And Mashiro really beginning to tell that he is going to be a possible championship contender. And I mean, he's won the TTSL title as well. This is really coming to show. Kalsper right on the back of Recon coming down the straight towards turn 8. He's not, however, going to get the move done, but they are eating like crocodiles into this advantage.
They are indeed, and we'll have to see what their strategy is going to be like towards the end of this race. You see Kalsper there closing in on Recon, surely not a move down towards turn 11. No, he knows there that the door's never opening on that one. Mashiro, meanwhile, on the back of Traw, closing and closing. Look at the gaining speed that the Williams has on the Renault. Traw again defends the inside line. Mashiro looking for the inside line again, outside of 13 there, and now on the outside of turn 14. Again, he's going to find himself on the inside of 15, but Traw just about hangs on. Great battling between those two.
Great defending by the German. Can Mashiro actually see this down towards turn 16? He can't. These two now beginning to battle, beginning to let Cooper into play, possibly out on track. and also with the conditions now transferring into night, I do believe there might be a bit of dust now beginning to pick up out on track, so that might just be another factor to come in to the gap. Speaking of the gap to the lead, 1.1 seconds. How's that came down? Goodness me.
Well, that has come down massively in this race. Over half race distance covered so far. Toxic still leads from Recon in second. Kalsper is in third place right now as we make our way through the hairpin. And of course, it's got to be so planted on the exit there of turn 7. Cass is in for another set of medium tyres, going for the 2-stop, and out he will go to rejoin this track. Of course, not been a great day for him whatsoever. Let's rejoin the battle for the lead, because Toxic leads it now by just over half a second ahead of Recon, and that is Kalsper behind, and Key is out of this race. Key is out at turn 4 there, just on the run towards turn 5. Let's see if we can ride aboard with Cass and see what exactly happened. This looked like he's bunny hopped over the curbs and into the wall. Yeah,
oh,
I think
Recon!
that's exactly.
Oh, I thought he was going to go for the move. Sorry.
Well, Recon,
he's picked up a 3 second time penalty though.
Yeah, he has. 3 seconds will be added on to the end of his race as he tries to find a way past Toxic. He's got to remember as well that he doesn't need this race win, but you try to tell him that to a racing driver.
Recon will want this race win now, because Toxic is literally being ate up by Recon and Kalsper. Kalsper, I think, might be at the advantage here. He's got a little bit of clearer air. Recon right on the back of Toxic. Toxic has surely got to pit in soon. 12 laps on a set of mediums, and yet he's still going on another lap on these mediums. I think he might be trying to extend out the stint to go on a set of soft, but it's going to cost him so much. Maybe Toxic in a race with Kalsper for third. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, Recon right on Toxic's heels then as we head through turn 2, through turn 3, and then onwards towards turn 4 as Recon bunny hops over the curbs. You don't want to do that too many times in the race. You really run the risk of the car just absolutely not having it at all as we head in towards turn 7. Recon up the inside there, just about found the room there against Toxic, but he won't get that traction. I don't think he'll care too much, because now he's in the slipstream. Now he's got the DRS, moves to the right-hand side, and he's going to sail past Toxic like he's not even there, and gets the lead of this race. Kalsper, meanwhile, looking to go up the inside of the Red Bull in towards turn 2, turn 8, sorry, but he's made contact there with Recon. Somehow he gets away with it. Toxic makes a mistake, or at least finds himself spinning out there at turn 9. I didn't quite get the best camera angles there, but Kalsper somehow got away with it.
Yeah, Kalsper actually just coming across on Toxic. Toxic tried to rejoin track alongside him. His car bunny hopped over the curb, and that's why you saw a little bit of contact between Kalsper and Toxic. But Kalsper just totally locked up that front end, and Recon somehow is still out in front. I thought he was a goner. Cooper, by the way, gone past Machine for 5th as well.
Absolutely, and that could have been team related there, as Cooper is on 1 lap younger tyres than Mashiro. But meanwhile, then the battle.
Remember, these two racing points against Ferrari are in a constructors' battle.
They are indeed, but of course, remember that Cass has the final point there, so that's going to have to be taken into account. Only 3 points separated between Ferrari, the constructor leaders, and Racing Point in second place. At the moment, as it stands, Ferrari will be winning both drivers and constructors championship, but still 11 laps to go here.
11 laps to go and anything can still happen. Carlsbury is into the pits. He should be coming out, I think, behind Sean here. He's on the he's going underneath down through the undercut, the subway section, I like to call it, through turn 1. Yeah, he's going to rejoin just behind Sean out on track. And ahead of Troll, which is going to be very costly, I think, for Troll, because now he's got a little bit of a gap to find to Carlsbury. But in the meantime, I think we might have a battle developing. Mashiro and Spike running down the straight. They're trying to catch Cooper. 4th, 5th and 6th currently out on track. Spike on much fresher tyres. He's surely not going to launch it from that far back. Danny Rick would have been proud if he tried to do that, but Spike right on the back of Mashiro, and I think he might be landing up into turn 11.
Could be, but you can see Spike is much more confident on the brakes here, on those fresher tyres. Here he goes then down towards turn 11. Look at the inside. He's made contact with the Williams of Cooper there and spins himself around, and he was never going to stop that car in time, and he makes contact with Cooper. Mashiro picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that one must have run wide on the exit of 13, but a rare error there and a rare misjudgment from Spike.
I don't think he realised, though, that Cooper was going slightly slower into the corner than expected. That's what happened there. I think Cooper was going, not purposely slower, accidentally, I think, slower to try and maintain the compound tyres that he's got on, to go a little bit slower, and Spike just totally outjudged himself on the brakes, and that's why the contact was made.
Carlsbury moving ahead of his teammate Sean, who moves to one side to let him through. Up to 7th place he goes. And all that drama here, and we're missing the battle for the lead. Recon now has extended that gap to just over a second as Key has left the session. Of course, he has retired from this race. But Kalsper, no more DRS as it stands, as he makes his way down towards turn 8, 9 and 10. So he's going to have to try and work hard to get that gap back down to under 1 second, which I think he has done down the second part of this straight. It's almost separated by that chicane, but still, no DRS whatsoever then for Kalsper. So he's got to try and close in using the ERS, maybe a higher engine mode as well, as he tries to close in on that Ferrari, of course. Ferrari versus Racing Point, and if you're just tuning in, remember that Kalsper joined this race late. He had to be put into the Mercedes. He will be classified as a Racing Point at the end of this race. Troll, meanwhile, battling away with Sean in towards turn 8, now in towards turn 9. Sean has the inside line. Troll has the outside and the traction as we head now in towards that DRS zone. Troll gets the move done, but Sean has the DRS then on the return, on the run, down towards turn 11. Sean around the outside. Will he try and find the move there? Troll leaves his braking lates, tries to steal the apex, and he's done exactly that. Really good technique there from Troll to just steal that apex away from Sean. There was nothing the Alfa Romeo could have done about that, and the Renault moves up a position.
I thought Troll had actually overcommitted himself into the corner and Sean was going to get the switch back. But fair play to Troll for getting that car stopped and keeping it within the white lines. Cooper then is into the pits. Mashiro is going to go on for another lap. But Cooper into the pits, which is going to be quite interesting. Toxic and the likes coming round. But I do believe Cooper might be coming out behind these guys out on the track, behind Troll and behind Sean, as Carlsbury sets the new fastest lap of the race by, I think, a couple of hundredths of a second.
Yeah, he's going to try and close in as much as possible here. Meanwhile, Recon leading with 9 laps to go. I wonder here if his strategy is to try and go to the end, or will he put on a set of soft tyres towards the end of this race? Kalsper, whatever he does, I'm sure will follow suit, as he's now back within DRS range, only out of that for a lap. It's so easy once you fall out of DRS range to fall away completely, but fair play to Kalsper. He stayed with the Dutchman in the Ferrari as we make our way through 11, 12 and 13. The Recon here leading this one here in Abu Dhabi, and as it stands, Ferrari will be walking away from tonight's race champions in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships.
I think it comes to show as well what season that the Ferrari guys have had. Cass obviously coming in and scoring very good points in the Circuit of the Americas race last week. Again, he's going to be scoring a point. Cooper is going to be miles ahead of him out on the track, and Cooper will get up to 6. And Kalsper's in.
So this looks like it's going to be soft tyres for Kalsper as he makes his way in towards that pit lane. And there you can see, well, it should be the Racing Point crew ready, but the less said about that, the better. Ongo a set of soft tyres for Kalsper, and he now gets away. So Mashiro now coming into the pits as well. So it looks like 2 stops for everybody out there. Spike also into the pits for his expected stop for the soft tyres there. Toxic sets the fastest lap of this race then on the medium tyres. Now, where is he in relation to Kalsper here? It's going to be very close between the two of them, actually. I think the Mercedes is just going to edge it. Yes, he is. Kalsper rejoins ahead of Toxic. How crucial is that then for Kalsper's journey to try and take the race win here?
It's massively important, and I think the gap is only going to come down during the sector. I mean, 4 tenths has already been cut out the advantage already, just through that chicane, and possibly another 4 tenths through the hairpin. Recon is under some serious pressure here. I honestly think Recon could be on for 3rd at this stage, because Carlsbury's obviously 4.7 seconds behind. In theory, Recon will be out behind Toxic. That's where I think this is going to end up after this lap.
Well, Recon still leading the way, but will he still be leading after his pit stop? That is, of course, if he decides to make a stop. He might surprise us all and say, you know what, I'm not stopping. Not at all. I'm on a different strategy to all of you. But if Kalsper has stopped for his second one, you can see there getting a little bit tail happy on the exit of 17. Here he goes through 19 and onwards towards 20 and 21. Well, it has been quite a race so far, and it is far from over. Recon then coming into the pits for his final pit stop of the season as he plans it, and almost running into the wall there. Very scary moment for him, but he's into the pit lane now, and the awkward pit lane is that when you're on the pit exit, you go underneath the drivers ahead of you almost, and if you can get away, you can get a really good advantage here. That Ferrari has left. It's just a little bit of lag there, but you can see coming down towards the final, or the first corner I should say, Kalsper's gone purple through the final sector, and look at that margin he's got now between himself and the Ferrari. In fact, Toxic might just rejoin ahead of the Ferrari here, and he has. Toxic ahead of Recon here, and Kalsper 3 seconds he gained on that undercut. What a decision there, and what a strategically great move there from Kalsper. Recon is now going to have to try and battle Toxic, which is going to cost him even more time.
Recon's going to have to do it dirty. It's as simple as that out on track. Toxic is going to be under sustained pressure. They're running down the straight, and he can already tell, I think, that this is going to be a completed move as Recon switches to the outside line. Toxic, I don't think, is going to put up a fight for this one. Recon's doing, he's up to second, but Kalsper getting 3 seconds. That is the difference between winning and losing here at Yas Marina.
Yeah, and those mistakes there through the middle sector for Recon will not have helped at all. It would have compounded into that, and Kalsper here on a roll. You could see he treated that as his quali lap. He treated that as a hot lap. You can see him now trying to harvest the energy that he expelled, trying to get that gap and try and get ahead of Recon. It has worked to a treat here. But Recon, as you say...
What's happened there? Toxic's just gone through on Recon. Did Recon make a mistake? I didn't see that.
No,
Toxic's still on Recon.
I didn't either, but he made the move in towards 16. You know when we said that move was impossible? Well, Toxic's just made it possible and moves ahead of Recon once again. And that hard work that the Ferraris just put in has been instantly dissipated here as he now finds himself behind Toxic. As it stands then, of course, we've got Recon there on 15 points. Cass there on 4 points, so that added together that makes 19 compared to Racing Point's 25. At this point in time, Racing Point will be walking away with the constructors, but Recon's got to try and find a way past Toxic to make Ferrari's dreams of a double come true, but he's finding it harder than he realises here.
I think Recon actually, if he's even second and Cass will not gain a position, I don't think Cass is going to gain any positions out on track. I think if Recon, obviously if he outscores Toxic, Kalsper in the Racing Point will still get the championship. I think they might be tied on points though, coming towards the end. Recon right on the back of Toxic, running down the straight towards turn 8. Toxic on the inside line. Recon trying to do it the hard way around the outside, but again, he's going to have to fight dirty. And Recon right, trying to get the move done. Cooper has absolutely sailed past Troll on the background as well. That was down towards turn 8. But Recon and Toxic, this might boil over into something special. Recon around the outside on Toxic. Toxic up the inside line, trying to get the move done. We're never going to have that one. Fresher tyres, fresher gears. Recon up the second again. But is he going to do the same thing again?
Well, let's have a look then through that triple right-hander. Onwards through we go. And no, he keeps it well under control this time around. And Toxic doesn't have a sniff of a chance heading in towards 16 there. But Recon now up to second place. That means he has 18 points to his name compared to Kalsper's 25. And when we add that, we add the 4 points that Cass is earning right now to the mix. That's 22 points. As you say, James, the constructors will be absolutely tied up and will have to be decided by the higher-ups who have all the race results. Unfortunately, we don't have them with us, James. Otherwise, we would have worked them out. But with 5 laps to go, we have no idea who's going to win this Constructors' Championship.
Kalsper's also got the fastest lap as well. That might swing it into the Racing Point's favour.
Has he got the fastest lap?
36.6.
He has, so that could be the difference between for a tie between the two constructors and Racing Point walking away with the title. I remember back in F1 2017, all those seasons ago, when the Force India team, of course, had a very, very good season, and it was always going to be a huge challenge to replicate those seasons. They lost both of their star drivers. They really had to start from square one again, but it looks like here they may have just found that option. They may have just found that little glimmer of hope in this fastest lap of the race. What Kalsper has to rely on now is that no one inside the top 10 will think, you know what, I'm going to go for that fastest lap of the race.
Hopefully not. I don't think any of the drivers within the top 10, and I'm going to make a bold prediction and say none of these guys will actually try and get the fastest lap of the race, because I think Carlsberg's pretty much got that sewn up. Maybe Mashiro could. I think that might be it. I think Mashiro could possibly set fastest lap, but he's on a set of 3-lap-old softs. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how Recon gets on. Obviously, he's on a fresher set of softs by a lap or so. Is he going to improve onto the fastest lap this time? I think he might take it off him, actually. Oh, 36.7.
Very close there, but still 4 laps to go. Carlsberg is your race leader by 4 seconds.
Spike right on the back of Cass, nearly getting the move done down towards turn 19, down the inside. Never going to pull that one off, though. But Cass is now beginning to lose a little bit of time, and a 3-second time penalty is definitely not going to help the Ferrari's chances at all. Spike right on the back then of Cass, and surely the Toro Rosso are going to be scoring an extra point also. In fact, they'll be scoring an extra 2 points if it happens out on track. So Cass might lose points, and that means Racing Point might be at a 3-point buffer to Ferrari at the end of the season.
Well, absolutely. We'll have to see how that all develops towards the end of this race with 3.5 laps to go.
Yeah, anything can happen, I think. That's what I was just saying there. Spike, though, right on the back of Cass.
Spike on the back of Cass, then moving to that left-hand side with the DRS wide open now, and that is job done there for Spike. He now moves up to 8th place, but remember, Spike himself has a 3-second time penalty, so maybe that battle was more important than we realised there. But Spike now up to 8th place, and now can try and pull away and see if he can extend that gap. Of course, he'll be checking his engineer.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say there, Lighty in a little bit of trouble there at turn 9. Not sure what quite happened to the Haas there, but Sean is up a position now, up to P10, into the points then for the Alfa Romeo team. And he'll be looking to now set his sights on Cass, but he is 7.8 seconds ahead. That being said, if Sean doesn't have any penalties, that comes down to about 4 seconds.
Yeah, Sean needs to pull in the gap, I think, to Cass to try and get... he needs to pull it in by at least another second or so, but that gap has just gone out to about 8.3 seconds, so Sean now beginning to struggle. And Lighty, actually, I think is beginning to come back, so maybe we're seeing the crossover period between the softs and the mediums beginning to happen, because Lighty just running against the wall there, but he is beginning to catch back up to Sean. He's not giving up without a fight.
Yeah, he's got a 3-second time penalty, but I think that was more of a mistake going through turn 9 that gifted Sean the position. That's why I was so surprised that he was going so slowly through there. Meanwhile, at the top of the field, 3 laps to go, Carlsberg leads by 2.9 seconds to Recon there, with Toxic 4.1 behind the Dutchman there. Carlsbury in 4th, Brian Cooper in 5th, draw 6th, but here is Mashiro battling away here in the slipstream and in the DRS zone. You can see they're trying to break the slipstream to the Japanese driver. He'll take the inside line, then moves to the racing line. That is a legal move. You can make one move to defend and then a move back to the racing line. So a legal move there from the German in the Renault, but Mashiro this time around is much closer with that DRS down the back straight towards turn 11. Mashiro moves to the right hand side then as we make our way down towards turn 11, and Mashiro, does he have the move done? Troy tries to stick in the front wing up the inside, but it's not enough, and Mashiro takes the move and moves up to 6th place. Good driving there from Mashiro and good defensive driving from Troy.
Yeah, fantastic action. That's what you like to see out on track. Mashiro getting that move done. He can possibly set his sights on Cooper. However, I think that might be unlikely now with only 2 laps to go. The leaders have just gone into the final 2 laps. Carlsberg is taking it quite easily, I think, out in front. Maybe he's shaded too easily. 3 seconds worth of penalties these guys have got. Carlsberg, Recon, and I do believe Toxic has got more penalties than the guys ahead. I'm just looking through the penalties. He's got 3 penalties as Toxic. Carlsbury, he's only got 2 penalties out on track. But look at the gap at 8.4 seconds. Never going to come down.
Well, Carlsberg still has that fastest lap of the race bonus point as it stands with only 2 laps to go. 1 and a bit if you're picky. Recon, though, still trying to close in on that gap. And to be fair to Recon, he's on a 36.7 right now. I'd love to see what the last lap times were for these 2 drivers and see who's got the upper hand on the fastest lap of the race bonus point. For all it takes, though, Carlsberg leading this one ahead of Recon with Cass down in 9th place. If it finishes like this, Racing Point will be your Constructors' Champions for this season.
Yeah, looking at the last lap time, the last lap lap times from Carlsberg and Recon. Recon 5/10 quicker than Carlsberg, but in terms of the fastest lap, it's about a tenth and a half in Carlsberg's favour. 36.6, 36.774 for Recon, 36.636 for Carlsberg. 2.1 seconds onto the final lap. I don't think we're going to get any battles, are we?
Well, let's have a wait and see as Carlsberg then starts the final lap of the race in the lead of this one as he makes his way now down towards turn 1. Will he finish there? He makes his way through 1 and through 2, 3 and 4 in quick succession. Recon there still in second place as we watch Recon here put sealing the bow, if you like, wrapping it up in style here. Not quite the race win just yet. He's still got a lap and a bit to go as we make our way in towards turn 7, or sorry, I should say a bit of a lap to go, not a lap and a bit. Got my words the wrong way around. But anyway, Carlsberg still leading. 1.8 is the gap between himself and Recon. Recon would love to finish himself with a race win. In fact, he'd love to finish up with a race win because that would mean it would hand the title of Constructors back to Ferrari. But at this moment in time, it is Racing Point who will be holding their heads high by just the finest and slimmest of margins. Cass there with 2 points, with Recon on 18. That's going to put them on 20 points. Carlsberg with that fast up of the race bonus point, 26 points. That means the Constructors' Championship as it stands will be decided by 3 points. Just 3 points. You heard me right. What a very close championship battle that has been.
Been a fantastic championship battle and honestly out on track. The guys have given them all out on track. But Carlsberg, last to first, I did predict this earlier on, so you can actually say that I've got something right.
Well, for the first time ever, James has got something right. And here we go then, in towards the final couple of corners. Carlsberg here will win under the lights here in Abu Dhabi. But the champion of season 16 is Recon with a commanding drive all season long. A great finish for the Dutchman there. Toxic across the line to take that final place on the podium. Commiserations to Carlsberg. He was always going to be a rank outsider, 24 points behind, but he gave it his all and finishes in 4th place. Flying Cooper there finishing in 5th place, promoted to 4th on penalties. Mashiro crosses the line for what has been a fantastic debut season for the Japanese driver. Draw in 7th, Spike there in 8th. Cass rounds the final corner, confirms that 9th place and confirms that the final championship placings there means that, well, it is Racing Point who will be your Constructors' champions for this season. And I think Lighty here is going for a couple of donuts here in that Haas there. Fair play to him. It's been a good season, I think, in general for all of these drivers. I don't think many of them can have too many complaints about where they finished off this season as he will spins it towards the line. Carlsberg is your race winner, but your championship winner here for TTL F1 season number 16, the Dutchman, it's Recon, who is your champion. Adding to that as well, your Constructors' champions will be Racing Point, and they're back on the top step. Those Pink Panthers are back. And although it's Mercedes outfits there and a Mercedes car, Carlsberg will be classified as a Racing Point, which means that the Racing Points are your Constructors' champions by 3 points. 3 points was all that gap.
It might actually be 1 point because Cass jumped ahead of Spike for 8th.
Oh, so it might have just been that single point. Wow, what a close Constructors' champion. And, well, a huge congratulations as well to Recon as he is your season 16 TTL F1 champion. Carlsberg wins the race. Recon in 2nd does enough to seal the championship here tonight. Toxic in 3rd with Flying Cooper 4th. Carlsberg in 5th, Mashiro in 6th, Trot in 7th, Cass in 8th, Spike in 9th, and Sean rounds out the top 10. It's Lighty in 11th, Key in 12th. In fact, Lighty, Key, Jeffrey, Warren, and Shapalele all sort of not making it to the line. In fact, Shapalele was disqualified. You remember there, not making it or driving backwards. Of course, King J had a DNS next to his name. That's why you don't see a P15. He retired in qualifying, never came back, unfortunately. And Lighty, well, he got a DNF next to his name, so he didn't actually make it to the line with enough time to spare. So he is actually not classified at all. But there you go then. That is your final race of this season. And it is Recon who is your Drivers' Champion. And Racing Point are your Constructors' Champion.
Fair play to Recon. Fair play to Recon. drove well. What more to say?
What more to say? A hugely dominating drive from the Dutchman. And that, James, pretty much wraps it up for Season 16. We've done it. We've made it to the end, and Season 17 is not very far away at all. If you enjoyed that action, I can guarantee you, you're going to enjoy next season too. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel down below. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time TTTV goes live. Next time we are live, I believe, James, will be with your lovely self on tomorrow night.
It will be tomorrow night, yes. We've got the TTL F1 League 2 Challenge Cup. It'll be myself and Paco Suarez taking you through that one. Mexico, and we return to Abu Dhabi once again. Machine, we're currently dominating things out on track. What will the outcome be? Well, you have to tune in and find out. 8 o'clock.
Absolutely, and make sure you are subscribed, and you make sure you hit the bell so you're notified when the guys go live. If you like the league, make sure you follow the league on Twitter. It's at TTL_F1. If you like the commentary team, well, you can follow myself on Twitter at KS McGinley. Good luck with that. It's MCGINLEY. Again, good luck. And you can also follow the lovely Mr. James Head. It's B52 Head. That's Bravo 52 Head. Well, James, another season is done and dusted. I believe it's our first one, our first full season together, if I'm right in saying.
It is our first full season together, and it won't certainly be the last as well, because I think Season 17, if you thought Season 16 was good, I think Season 17 will be even better. We've got a load of new drivers coming in. I think LRT Rapper's going to be in there. Leon Bentley, I think, has signed up for next season. Some very familiar names, and it's on paper to be the best season I think I've commentated on in any league.
Well, if that's not enough to convince you to join next season, I don't know what is. But make sure you follow the league on Twitter to know when we're back racing again for Season 17. I promise you, it's literally just around the corner. But thank you very much for watching tonight. And as always, a big congratulations to our Season 16 Drivers Champion of Recon and our Season 16 Constructors Champions of Racing Point. Until next season, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
And hope you've enjoyed this fantastic season. And until next time, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next season.